Let's face it, launches are broken. Algorithms choke discovery. And there's no indication of demand or data. You don't know who's coming or what they'll pay. Creators can't gauge success, and buyers can't see what's real. What's with all these checklists and guesswork? Buying something shouldn't feel like cracking a code. That's where Signals comes in. On Signals, collectors show up first, so creators launch smarter. Break through the noise. Launch with real demand. Launch with Signals.
Hello, 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 everybody. So, you just saw a little clip about a new platform that we're going to be launching. Actually, it's launched now, called Signals. It's available at Signals.art. You can actually take a look now. And if we can just get the slides up. Yeah, so this beautiful branding by Postbook, I just have to say, amazing job. Really excited to hear the fireside chat she's doing with her dad a little bit later, talking about it. But you know, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about Signals. So, Signals is really born out of seeing that there are a number of problems that both creators and collectors and traders are faced in the industry. And it's really that creative projects are difficult to go to market with. And so, you know, on the creator side of things, it's hard to find that demand. If people are actually going to, you know, show up and mint what you have launching, you don't know what they're going to pay. You don't know if they've signed up for a whitelist, if they're actually going to follow through on that. And then on the collector trader side of things, you don't know what is botted. You don't know, if people have just given out whitelists like candy. And really, it's just hard to know what is going to be a successful launch and what is not before it actually makes it on chain. And so that is really why Signals exists. And so let's walk through a little bit about what Signals is, how it works, and some exciting things you can sort of look forward to in the coming weeks. So the first thing I'll mention is Signals is complementary to, in addition to Gamma. So you may be familiar with Gamma. That's our creator launchpad and art marketplace on Ordinals and Stacks L2. Signals is a completely new platform, and there's not really any alternatives today for Signals, and so we are kind of coining it as a go-to-market platform. And so what does that really mean? What can you do with Signals? So there's a few things. This top row here, you can see, is for creators. So on the creator side of things, Signals will let you showcase real demand ahead of launch. It will allow you to sell on any drop site, so not just on Gamma. This is available for any creator to launch any project on or off the blockchain on any drop site. And it allows you to launch with confidence, knowing that people are really interested and have a little bit to back up their stake in their interest in your launch. And on this collector and trader side of things, you actually are part of the process in bringing the project to market. So you will help determine what a fair market price is for this release. And in exchange for doing that, you'll get guaranteed early access to the project. So it's kind of like getting a guaranteed whitelist. And we also have it super connected with, your email. You can even connect your Discord or Telegram or phone number if you want. And so you'll never miss out on when that, mint period is opening, or, if new drops are happening. It's totally up to you how you want to be notified and how you want to, when you want to be notified, but you'll have the options available to you. And so let's talk a little bit about how this works. So you saw in the video, a little bit about like the problem it's solving. But I think the way we went about tackling this problem is really what makes Signals special. And so here's how it works. When you come to Signals, you'll find almost like a Kickstarter style experience. There'll be upcoming releases that creators would like to launch, provided there is sufficient market demand. And you as a collector, trader, or backer, as we'll call it, you can add signal to these projects if you find them interesting. And so projects on Signals sort of have three different phases to them. There's the first phase we call finding signal. The second phase we call last call. And the final phase is the launch phase. And so if you take a look here, you see there's 7 days left in this example. And this is a period of time set by the creator. So let's say it's a independent artist or a 10K project or a brand. They can say, we want to give ourselves a couple of days or a few weeks or a month to prove that there's market demand for what we'd like to release. And you can see here, 42% signal. This is the current level of interest that the market has in this project. And so the goal of the Signals platform is to reach, at minimum, or likely, hopefully, exceed 100% signal. And so you can think of 100% signal as supply perfectly meeting demand. But ideally, you want demand to exceed supply, such that there's a bit of a price discovery component and the market can determine what a fair mint price or purchase price is. And so you can see in this example, we have 39 different people, backers, that are interested in 42 of the project spots. And when we divide this, we get 42% signal. And you can also see over here, we have something that we call bars. And so if you really like something and you would actually be willing to pay for it, not just like raise your hand and accept a whitelist for it, you can place a bid. And when you place a bid, we actually ask for a 10% deposit in these credits that we call bars. You can think of them like in-game credits that you might have in like Fortnite or Candy Crush or something like that. And the idea behind them is we want to make sure that it's difficult to bot and difficult to lie about your interest in this project. So you sort of place your bid and you have to back it up with this 10% deposit. So let's talk about bidding. When you bid for a project on Signals, you're bidding with others, with the market, to help set a fair market price for that project. And so this helps in price discovery, and it also increases your chances of getting a spot, a guaranteed early access spot, for the project. And so as this project that we had in our first example has been progressing, you can see we're now over 100% signal. So now there is more demand than there is supply. And so now we're going to have to start placing bids. So our user in this example places a $20 bid. That requires a $2 10% deposit in bars. And the way that this deposit works is if that user gets a spot, that deposit's non-refundable, and it basically discounts the final purchase price. So they would just pay $18 when they go to purchase it. But there's no risk. If they get outbid or if the project doesn't succeed, those bars get automatically returned to the account like nothing ever happened. Absolutely no risk. So it's much different from traditional mint that happens now, where if you're one of those like brave souls that, mints first and the project doesn't succeed, you're sort of, tough luck. Here, this only happens if the project is successful. And so let's talk about getting outbid. So as we progress in the project, we get to a later point. There's now more interest. You can see there's 262% signal now in the project. We enter something that we call last call. And I think last call is one of the most important aspects of a project on Signals. When we had the early iterations of this, we've been working on this for the better part of a year, we sort of ended the Signals mechanism here. And we said, okay, we've sort of proven that there's demand. We've gotten bids from people. We can now settle what is effectively a clearing price auction, and basically pass that off to a drop site. But as we thought about the game theory of this and making sure that people would bid honestly and participate, to their maximum potential, we thought that a little bit more was needed. And so we did two additional enhancements. The first thing is we made bidding secret. So, we've heard from a lot of people, they don't like when their auction bids are being watched by other people. And so nobody, not even the creator, will know what you are bidding when you're bidding on a project on Signals. So you can sort of just say what your budget is for this project, and if it's too high of a bid, no risk. You'll actually just get a refund of any additional deposit you placed, and if it's not enough, you won't get a spot. And so you can basically just say what your true maximum is. And so when we enter the last call phase, so what you're seeing on screen, you can see whether or not the bid or bids that you made in that first phase was enough to get a spot. And so we can see in this example, the $20 bid we made was not enough. This user has been outbid, and they need to decide if they want to just throw in the towel, or if they like the project enough to actually increase their bid. And within last call, you have one final chance to place one final bid, almost like in a real estate auction where you're going back and forth, and at some point the agent says, all right, I want your best and final. That's what's happening here in last call. And so you might ask, well, what is enough to get a spot if $20 wasn't enough? And within last call, we reveal that. And so we say, as of the end of the first phase, $27 in this example was the absolute minimum that you could bid to get a spot. And the way we calculate that is by taking the 100th spot's bid, and that was $27 in this case. We say that's the absolute minimum that you can bid to get a spot. And since if you get a spot, this is non-refundable, that price will never go down. So that's the absolute floor that this project will launch for, and it will only go up as additional people place bids. And so now you can just decide if you like the project enough, you can place a higher bid and hope for the best. And so hopefully your bid was enough and you got a spot. And so if you got a spot, congrats. There's just a couple more housekeeping details that we do, and then you can be on your way to getting your item. But real quick, if you don't get a spot, you're not completely out. We basically take all of the users who were participating but didn't bid enough to get a spot, and we place them in something called standby. And so standby is essentially like a first come, first serve waitlist, where if guaranteed early access spot holders, backers, do not claim their spot, you'll have a first come, first serve chance of taking what remains before the public sale. And so now we're in the launch phase. Hopefully you got a spot. We're launching soon. We just need a little bit of details. And so we say, in this example, we need your Bitcoin address. And so you would just provide your Bitcoin address. You can actually have this like a wallet that you don't even connect to Signals. You just have to paste it right in, and you can get your early access sent to that address. And as I mentioned, this is available for any drop site on or off of Bitcoin, on or off the blockchain. And so maybe this is going to be an email address that you'll be asked for, or maybe it'll be an Ethereum address that you'll be asked for. We sort of have no opinion on the matter. We're blockchain agnostic, and we'll just sort of let people ask for whatever details they need. And if you don't have one, we will provide an easy guide to do that. And I just want to spend a quick moment on this. This is a really important aspect of Signals. We want Signals to be mass market, available for every person to sign up. You can hopefully have your grandmother sign up onto Signals just with her email address. She probably doesn't have a Bitcoin address yet, but once she gets a spot in this project, we'll give her easy instructions on how to get onboarded and set up that wallet. So we basically defer that decision, defer that difficult process of getting that wallet set up, getting that Bitcoin funded until later down the line when you have a reason to do so. And so you've given your details, we have your Bitcoin address now, and at this point is where Signals has done its job. So we've proven that there's market demand. We've hopefully generated some additional interest in the project as well. We've determined that fair price, and now we're going to take these details and we're going to pass it over to a partner drop site. That might be our other platform, Gamma. That might be some other launchpad on another drop site on another blockchain. It might even be the creator's own Shopify, for example. Let's say they're doing physical prints and they want to launch this through Signals. It's really any creative project you can launch through Signals super easily. And we'll provide all of your details to them. So all you do is show up, you'll have a discounted price already, and you'll pay the difference to get your item. And so the way this works is we give you at least 24 hours. We'll make sure that anyone we partner with on drops guarantee that you have at least 24 hours. And we'll give you at least 2 days heads up before that window opens, plus, reminders, so you'll definitely not miss that window to claim your guaranteed spot. So that's Signals. And I would be really pleased if that was all I had to share. And really proud of the team and proud of all the work that went into this. But I'm really excited to say there's a little bit more to share. So the first thing I'll mention is if you're a user of Gamma, we're actually doing a bit of like an airdrop or claim of bars. So 3 million, actually like 3.3 million bars will be airdropped to Gamma users. You can actually go on Signals.art right now, and you'll actually need an invite code, which I'll talk about in a second. But you can claim your allocation there, and that's going to be based on the activity that you had on Gamma, as well as if you have a Gamma Summer Pass or Gamma Winter Pass. We've taken special care of you guys as well. But for all of you in the room, sorry to you on the live stream, but I have a little something for you. There's a little bit of a gamble. We're here in Vegas, and so we figured let's make it fun. So when you came in, you should have received a little card that said, come claim some surprise item at the merch store. And so you're actually able to go to the merch store starting right after this talk, and you can claim a poker chip. So you can see this here. You'll be able to give in that card and pick up one of these. And on the back of this, I won't show it for too long, there is an invite code to Signals. And so with this invite code, you'll be the very first users to get on the platform. And there's also a reward attached. So I say it's a gamble because there is a value of bars associated with each of these chips. So you'll have, at the minimum, like $30 or so in bars, but it could be $50, $100, $500, $1,000 in bars. And so hopefully, best of luck to you. We'll see what you get if we can bring the slides back. Yeah. And so that's not the only way you can earn bars. So when you sign up, you'll have additional ways you can check your Gamma allocation if you have one. You can also go through our onboarding flow, basically what I just walked all of you through, and you'll earn some bars for completing that lesson. But you also can get your share of 1 million additional bars. And the way that this happens is you, as the earliest users of the platform, you can invite other people. So you actually can do this just by sharing your Twitter handle. So you'll just say, here's my referral code is my Twitter handle, and you and the person you refer will get some bars for doing that. And so the more that you refer, the more that you can earn. So I would be really happy and proud if that was all I had to announce, but I just have a final series of announcements here related to Signals. So Signals is I think really cool and exciting and hopefully innovative, but it's not that exciting without great projects that you can look forward to getting involved in and backing and hopefully getting your hands on. And so I'm excited to announce some upcoming launches. So first off, I have to say that, as I said, we have support for any drop site on any launchpad or blockchain. And so we today are announcing that Ancora, who is home here on Bitcoin, will be queuing up releases on Signals. And there's one I'll show just next, brought to you in partnership with Ancora. And the other is Tradeport. These are long-term friends of ours. We've known them since 2021. Been through the thick and thin of the past couple cycles with them, and they have some pretty successful drop site and marketplace on the Move language blockchains, and so they actually have tens of thousands of monthly active users that they will be sort of also pointing towards Signals. And the idea here is that as we have many more drop sites like Tradeport joining on, we'll be able to sort of cross-pollinate all of those users, all of those eyeballs, all of that liquidity from blockchain to blockchain, and you'll just be able to get the absolute best projects, all hopefully funneling through Signals and then on to their final blockchain launch. And so what are these launches? Well, the first one I mentioned with Ancora, it's called the Alphabet. And so Pauline Faith, she has been working on this beautiful conceptual project. It is a sort of self-photography where she actually positions herself in certain ways to use her body to create the alphabet. And so there's different shots, and each shot of her body, you'll see an A, a B, a C, a D. And so this is a very limited release that you'll be able to, hopefully get your hands on through Signals. The second one is made possible with our friends at Tradeport, and that's called Mega Waves Makers. And so if you're familiar with either Stacks or Ordinals, you're probably familiar with Megapont or Megapunks. And so Weasley Grizzly, who is a Gamma partner artist of ours, very talented pixel artist, he's creating basically Megapont on Sui. And so you'll actually be able to participate in a large-scale release there, kind of a traditional PFP-style project through Tradeport. The next one is happening right here on Ordinals on Gamma, and that is Ordinals Yearbook #1 by Burst. This is a limited release. It's actually being featured in a museum at the moment. It details the history of Ordinals and how we've gotten to today, and it's a really beautiful collection. More on that from Burst. The next one is one that I'm really excited about, which is called Equilibrium. That's by Jack Butcher, and this is actually an experiment leaning into the mechanic that Signals makes possible. And so, what is the equilibrium of price of this limited release when supply meets demand? We actually did a previous release with Jack on Ordinals, another conceptual release called One of ? And it had to do with, on-chain data and kind of pointers to it. And we actually raised $190,000 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which just really crazy and honored that happened. And so now we have sort of the second iteration of this, now testing a new mechanic on Signals. And the final release is by Ordinal's very own Arto, and it's called Gardens. And so this is an exclusive release. It's very under wraps at the moment. He wasn't sure how much to share, so you have this little tidbits hiding through the letters here of what to maybe expect from Gardens. But yeah, this is the final release that we are sort of announcing today, and that's going to be dropping on Bitcoin right on Gamma. So you can go to the merch store, claim your poker chips. You can start inviting users. If you are at home at the live stream, I can't award you in the same way that I can award everyone who made their way out to Vegas to celebrate with us. But you can get access to Signals now. This code will not be live forever, but it'll be live for probably the rest of today. It is all capital letters, #livestream, one word, #livestream. So for people at home, you can get access to Signals that way. I wouldn't recommend anyone here in the room using that because there's a more valuable way for you with the poker chips. But yeah, if you're at home, you can sort of get onto the platform, start playing around with inviting your friends and learning a little bit more about it. All right, so now you have it, and we're really excited to be rolling it out in the coming weeks. So thank you all for your time, and yeah, go claim your poker chips.